Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to whoever it is in the world you are streaming here on Twitter, as well as those of you on YouTube, 9:23 p.m. Pacific time here in the West Coast of the United States, May 7th, 2026. All right. The second round, a little different than the first round, as we are now entering the championship rounds of the playoffs. Like with OKC, it's just a matter of if they're going to cover or not. And I want to know, even before we get going, is there anyone in the chat that had the Lakers plus 16? Now, the closing spread was 15.5, but I imagine there was a 16 out there. Nick Smith Jr. just missed the single most wide open layup at the buzzer possible. Now, granted, it was an up and under, but Nick Smith Jr., if you had plus 16, just blew you that cover. It would have been a push if you had 16 because they were down by 18. But this is a chat and a therapy session for any of you that had the cojones to bet the Los Angeles Lakers. They carry a lead into the third quarter. Surely they have to cover 16 points, and yet again, they get blown out. I asked the question. I was debating whether I put a video together or not of all the people that came into my comment section on the tweet. I asked before, as soon as the brackets were set up, is Oklahoma City going to lose a single game in the first two rounds of the playoffs or before the conference finals start, which was implying they're probably going to go undefeated, and they're probably going to go undefeated unless they have that game 4 that is notorious for taking your foot off the gas and they just don't give a shit. That's really the only way the Lakers are going to get a W. Chat's popping right now. I got a hello from Australia. What's up, Keanu? I got a hello from El Salvador. What's up, Jorge? One thing I appreciate about this late night with Wob chat is the majority of the audience is an international variety. We know the United States, it's late night, except for the West Coast, but I do appreciate all of you from across the world. I see the demographics after every show. This is certainly the most international program that I do, and I know that basketball is a universal language that other countries besides the United States enjoy. And if some of these other professional sports leagues in North America would realize it, maybe their popularity would reach the NBA's. I got Uncle Chetty in the chat that says, first NBA stream of yours I'm watching, big Birds in the Air fan. It's very rare that I get a crossover between the Birds in the Air crew on Twitch to the NBA audience here on Twitter, but perhaps we will have a chase and we can go watch. Appreciate you coming over. What did you think of, I imagine this isn't your first NBA game or NBA slate that you've watched. Oh, Ryan in the chat says, I've never seen LeBron that angry with the officials. Did you guys just see what Austin Reeves did at the end of the game? Him and the Lakers created, I don't even know how to compare this. I do know what to compare it to. Have you ever seen what elephants do when there's an earthquake? The adults create a circle around the babies. They create this like protective fence of gigantic elephant, this wall. And they created this circle of fire around the referees where Austin Reeves was clearly over there preaching either his sermon or making his case to the refs, trying to plant a seed for game 3, which I imagine had something to do with what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did, locking up his arm, the whistle that they're getting, how inconsistent it is. I mean, this is frustration that every single team, the other 28 teams in the NBA, have had playing the Thunder, and we'll get to why in just a second. Hello from Egypt. What's happening? Got one from Costa Rica. Daniel Jim in the chat. Hello from my boat. I almost read that out loud. It's bad chatter, Alexis. Bad. Not talking about that here. Josh is saying, why are the Lakers and the fans so upset with the officiating? It's such a tired, lazy take. I'll get to that in just a second. Man, I really hope the Spurs can beat the Thunder. That sounds like another fan base that has been scorned by OKC. What's up from Philly? Thanks for the stream, says Ryan. Thanks for joining us tonight. Tay says, I don't see why the Lakers were upset. They've been flopping all season. And the one game the whistle doesn't go their way, they complain. Undrafted Kev says the Lakers should have won this game, but they had like 20 turnovers, and you'll never beat OKC like that. And then Daryl Morey belongs in prison. Chat's you are much more active tonight than you were yesterday. So thank you for leading off tonight's show. Zach says, how about McCain being a massive spark for the Thunder, MVP of the game tonight? How about MVP of this series, considering Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had his worst box score / statistical performance of the season? 18 points on inefficient shooting, 7 turnovers in game 1. It's certainly not Shai. He got into foul trouble again tonight. He was off the floor for a considerable amount of time starting in the middle of the third quarter. Jared McCain is the MVP of the series. He went 4 of 5, if I'm not mistaken, from beyond the arc in game 1, at least until that game got out of hand. He steps onto the floor tonight. His dribble penetration, by the way, he's supposed to be known as just this catch and shoot guy. He can get to the rack. My God. What? I'm trying to defend Daryl Morey because he obviously traded Jared McCain to retain a spot for Derek Barlow. But was there, I just said Derek Barlow, Dominic Barlow. All of last night, I was Dominic Barlow. Now I've trained my brain to say Derek Barlow. Dominic Barlow. He wanted a spot for Dominic Barlow, but was there no other way to keep both? And I've seen Sixers fans propose some ways about using some of their second-round draft picks, but to let a talent like Jared McCain go and send him to OKC of all places, that they can send out these hockey shifts of players without 2 all-NBA guys, J-Dub, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They don't miss a beat. They go plus 18 in those minutes that Shai came off the floor after his 4th foul. And no, he shouldn't have been ejected. Flagrant 1 is fine. The Thunder go plus 18. You know how we always used to have those conversations, what happens to the Nuggets when Nikola Jokic comes off the floor? What happens to all these good teams when their best player comes off the floor? OKC just sends another wave of first-round lottery picks out there. And the game is eventually a blowout. Oh, now we got JJ Redick quote here. We got a JJ Redick quote, the worst whistle I have ever seen. The worst referee performance I have ever seen from JJ Redick. He's going to get fined for that, but he's clearly, him and Austin Reeves are trying to plant seeds with the referees union for game 3 back in Los Angeles. And we're going to get to the whistle shit because it's such low-hanging fruit. It's an easy, lazy narrative that can easily be countered. And I promise I'll get to that. But let's talk about those minutes that Shai came off the floor. Because then Jared McCain comes on. He starts lighting the world on fire. He is such a threat from 3 that you have to stay attached to him. And his feet, those little tick-tock feet of his, are so fucking fast that he can just slither and snake behind any defense and finish at the rim with those up and unders like they're nothing, spinning the ball up the glass on the weak side, not even looking at the rim. But the Thunder's ability to go to a second unit of guys that can extend a lead double digits, they are just a fully armed and operational battle station. Even when it was a blowout and they send out their 3rd unit of Kenrich Williams, Aaron Wiggins, I didn't even see Topic on the floor. They have a bunch of lottery guys who can't even get into the game because the rest of the team is so good. The last thing you want if you're AJ DePonsa is for Oklahoma City to win the lottery because you'll never see the light of day. You're going to be Aaron Rodgers before Brett Favre. You have to spend 4 seasons on the bench. These poor guys can't even get in there. Does Cason Wallace just get his hands on every fucking pass? Alex Caruso, they just get their hands on inbounds passes, turnover. It's all they've been doing all season long. All right, more chats because I know everyone wants to talk about the whistle stuff. The Lakers are going to make a big deal out of this in the postgame press conference coming up here in a couple of minutes. JJ Redick, if you're just joining us, has gone up there and said some shit that's going to get him fined. He's going to eat the $50,000. He's trying to set a tone that OKC is getting this incredibly favorable whistle, but they create their own luck. C4 Photon says, how do you feel about this? Because I watched the entire game and this was absolutely rigged. Josh Oliver says, can you acknowledge that every team flops, but the world riots when OKC does it? Yes, for sure. You know who also flops? James Harden. You know who doesn't get whistles? James Harden. And it's because you are not earning the whistles. Oh boy, do we need to talk about Harden, by the way. My favorite topic. All 3 ref reviews tonight went against Oklahoma City, says Jay Pirtle. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. The OKC syndrome, OKC deranged syndrome, you know how we did hashtag Clippers sober a couple of weeks ago? We need to do OKC ranged, or someone come up with a hashtag for OKC deranged fans that just don't know the game of basketball or the business of basketball. All right. These people will put together compilations of all the times that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder flop or embellish. And the compilations that I see go viral on the internet, I mean, millions and millions of views. And first of all, they're doing that because Twitter has upped their creator payouts, and there's actually incentive to do it now because the payouts are legit. Number 2, it's the easiest narrative in the world that everyone, all these other teams are looking to tear down the king, right? Whoever makes it to the top, you just want to tear them down. So who better to choose than OKC? And number 3, if there are, let's say on average, just use a whole round number here. If there are 100 offensive possessions per game, and then I see one of these compilations come out where here's what OKC did in the first half alone. We're only at halftime. That means there's 50 possessions. And when the compilation shows 7 to 8 plays, some of them being borderline, so let's call it like 5 or 6 real flop embellish moments, that is just 10%. What about the other 90% that OKC does? Where they are putting your team in a straitjacket, where it looks like they have 15 defenders out there because of the way that they anticipate, communicate, and jump passing lanes. The way that they protect the rim with 3 different centers. And oh, by the way, if Jalen Williams played more minutes, he would easily lead the league in charges taken next to Jalen Brunson. They have Jay Will who can stretch the floor offensively. They can go small with Case and Wallace switching positions 1 through 5. They could go with Caruso down there. They have so many different combinations of shit that they can throw at you. And as the Lakers have no other choice but to put DeAndre Ayton on the floor, they go super big against him because he has hands made of stone. And they know that they can just rip this dude because his fundamentals are so poor that any time that DeAndre Ayton actually catches the basketball, his brain is trained for the first thing to do is just bring it down to his hip, where there's going to be Shea, there's going to be Dort, there's going to be AJ Mitchell, there's going to be Caruso, any Case and Wallace, you fucking name it. Even J-Dub from the bench can reach in there and take his cookies. I can't tell you the last time that DeAndre Ayton caught an inbounds pass and didn't just immediately put it into the holster. Put that shit above your head. You're 7 feet tall. And there's a reason why your head coach earlier this season said publicly to the press that my center can't catch because you can't. You have walrus hands. You don't have hands. You have little fucking flippers. Why did I go down Deion? I just wanted to project and vent on DeAndre Ayton clearly. But every time he catches the ball, it's an instant turnover. And against this Oklahoma City team, they are historically the best of all time at taking live ball turnovers and converting them into points. The final number tonight, I'm going to look it up right now, because when I checked, it was 27 points off of 20 Lakers turnovers. Let's see what the number is. What does this add on the side? Is there anything worse than ESPN's website? They autoplay ads with the volume on. Never use this website. Autoplay with volume on. Autoplay is already questionable, but with the volume on, prison. Here we go. Total turnovers. 21. Okay, 21 and 26. 21 turnovers for the Lakers. Points conceded off of them, 26. I mean, that's your ball game right there. I mean, that's every game. That's every game against OKC. They are historically great at converting live ball turnovers into points. How many times did you hear Stan Van Gundy say that on the broadcast? How many times have we said it on these late night shows? They get layups in free throws when your team is relying on hero ball from a guy who's 41 years old. Your team is relying on hero ball from Devin Booker or whoever it may be. There's really only been one team that has had a half-court set of offense efficient enough, especially at not turning the ball over, to nullify the advantages that OKC creates with their defense. Their defense is their offense. And somehow, if we get into like hero ball versus hero ball, punch for punch, oh, by the way, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And they didn't even fucking need him tonight. Like, oh, they don't have J-Dub. They might struggle in the half court. They have A.J. Mitchell, who could be the primary scorer on clearly a playoff team right now. This team without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and J-Dub would probably finish in the top 6 in the Western Conference. Chet Holmgren can space the floor. He's dragging DeAndre Ayton into the deep end of the pool, and you hope it doesn't freeze over because we know how DeAndre Ayton acts when there's ice around. I'm going to get to the whistle in just a second. Sorry, I need to catch up on these. First comment I see, MVP of the game was the refs. Jesus Christ. You people are hopeless. Does it make you feel better? It was the refs' fault. It was the refs, not our fault. It's the refs' fault. You're the fucking Lakers. The commissioner of the NBA, David Stern, once said if he could choose in the NBA Finals, he would have the Lakers play the Lakers. Coming in here talking to me about fucking free throws. Luka Doncic ran laps around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this year when it came to free throw attempts. If you're going to be annoying, at least be annoying with facts. Sorry, catching up. Dude, Nikola Topic's contract is going to expire before he actually gets in the damn rotation. A lottery pick. Jack says, everyone has spent a lot of time complaining about the second apron, but if it can help regulate the Thunder in dynasties like them, it would be nice. The Thunder are going to be just as affected by the second apron as everyone else. They're going to have to make a decision coming up on Hartenstein as well as Lou Dort. And if they have to let them walk so that they don't go into the aprons, that means the second apron has worked. The problem is OKC is stocked with 3 hockey shifts. Oh, I thought I got yelled at by Olga there. It was just a dog. I was like, did Olga return just to yell at me? Because I'm getting a little loud. You could hear it in the background. They'll just replace Dort with someone else on that bench and whoever their lottery pick is about to be. Of course, they'd love to retain those guys, but they're going to want to go out and get paid. And OKC, similar to the Boston situation, is going to have to make some tough decisions on who gets the money. Kevo asks, why are the Thunder so good? You'd think slowing down Shai, the games would be closer, but they still play so well. Also, side note, Knicks giving AJ to the Thunder was huge, of course. I mean, User Heron says OKC bench is nonstop hustle. It's crazy compared to watch other current teams' benches right now. And it's not just hustle. Like right now, Josh Hart is leading the NBA playoffs in deflections. Asar Thompson and the Pistons are out there putting on for the city. defensively. That's how they're winning these games. They're representing the brand. But how connected this second unit is, not even the first unit, the second unit, that they can come onto the floor and seamlessly replace any of those elite defenders like it's nothing. They have basketball telepathy, the way that they anticipate entry passes. For example, I know we all saw that bullshit that Marcus Smart did at about the halfway point of the fourth quarter. Yes, Rick Bin, I look at the YouTube chat. You guys saw that bullshit that Marcus Smart did, right? He's like bringing the ball across the floor. He's jawing with the referees. He throws this lollipop of a lazy pass to LeBron James, where Alex Caruso the entire time was purposely hiding. Go back and watch the highlight. He's hiding behind LeBron so that you can't see me, but I can see you. And the moment that you let that ball go, I'm going to run around LeBron and steal it. That's exactly what he did. And then Marcus Smart is like, oh shit, now I got to get back. Almost committed a take foul there too. How that happens probably 20 times a game, as we saw 20 more Laker turnovers tonight. How many times did Case and Wallace either pick someone's pocket, pick off an inbound after an ATO? That's when the coach gets to draw up a play in a huddle during a TV timeout, and it still results in a turnover before you can put the ball on the floor. That's all they do, is anticipate time and use their skill as fleet of foot, backcourt, perimeter of attack defenders to disrupt everything. And that shit just wears on you the same way that a jab does in boxing. It may not hurt in the first round, but it certainly adds up over 10. And then you start breathing through your mouth in round 11, and that's when you get knocked out. What do you mean after a while, Dayzat? I'm reading both chats while I'm up here ranting as well. More chats. Chad says good teams always get hate. The Warriors, the Heatles, etc. Yep. Wesley says AJ Mitchell makes $2.8 million the next 2 years. If I'm Sam Presti, if I win the title this year and I'm Sam Presti, here's what's going to happen. Ownership, we're going to have a little meeting. If I bring you back-to-back titles, we're going to have a little sit-down, Godfather style, Soprano style. What is this bullshit? These quotes keep coming in. JJ Redick is at the podium saying that they have a few guys that foul on every possession. Oh, woe is me. Give me a break. Listen, if they called a foul every time that the rules were violated, NBA games would take 6 hours. There would be no players left and someone would have to forfeit. There's a foul on every possession. Where was I? AJ Mitch. Oh, yeah. Good teams always get hate, of course. You got to step on some heads to get to the top. That's why everyone gets pissed off. And we live in a generation now where if anyone's successful, all people want to do is tear them down. So, of course, Oklahoma City. Oh, I was talking about if I'm Sam Presti. Here's what's going to happen. Have a seat. Ownership. You're going to give me 5% of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going to become a minority owner in this team. He can also pull some money to actually pay for the stock. But the same way that Dwayne Wade became a minority share owner with the Utah Jazz, I want that same plan. The same way Michael Jordan asked for 5% royalties on his shoes with Nike, I want 5% of the Oklahoma City Thunder. If you don't give it to me, I walk, and I'll just retire as the greatest GM of all time until someone offers me $1 billion to come save their franchise. I want 5% of this team. Shit Chris K says, Wob, I think this is the first time I've ever disliked a take from you about these calls. Okay. With Oklahoma City, people, this is a real thing that happens in the regular season through the playoffs, where officiating crews get trained by the players. And I'm not speaking as someone that is opinionated. This is a fact supported by my two full-time radio hosts on SiriusXM, former player Antonio Daniels, former coach of the year, Sam Mitchell, as well as a guy that played with the Indiana Pacers in the 90s and knows everything about training referees because of those series against the Knicks. So what happens to referees when a defense is this physical? So the Knicks from the 90s, of course, were known for their physicality and being bullies, and that's the way that they won games. They may not have been more talented than the opposition, but we will dare the officials to blow that whistle and enforce the rule book literally for the next 2.5 hours because we know you're not going to do it. You know what OKC does? They come out, they blast through screens, they grab like everyone else. They are incredibly physical. They bump, they get a little too handsy, and the referees tend to blow the whistle early. But like anything in life, if there's too much repetition, why do I keep getting interrupted by all these Laker quotes that are coming in? All they're doing is complaining to the media right now. Now I got to read another one and stop my damn explanation. Starting to really piss me off. LeBron James just said, LeBron James, when asked how the officials were a factor in game 2, quote, "We're down 2-0. Oh, he's just denying everything. All right. Thank God he didn't go on the record complaining because I would have been super fucking annoyed. Okay. This is the Lakers complaining about whistles and free throws, considering the guy, he's in street clothes sitting on the bench, complaining about a whistle for too many free throws is like the prom queen saying, "Ew, I look ugly tonight." No one's going to feel bad for you. Where was I? Back to how we train officials. So a team that is relentless with their physicality and effort, like Oklahoma City, they will get the whistle blown against them because the referees are trying to establish their precedent for the night, which is we're going to call this tonight. So we're letting you know right now. The problem is they're not. They don't ever in the playoffs, especially these veteran officiating crews who, once again, I can tell you for a fact, have been instructed by the referees union. I've said this 5 times, but it sure bears repeating now, doesn't it? They have been instructed by the referees union during the playoffs to only blow the whistle when they are 100% sure that it is a violation. So any of those 50-50 calls, keep the whistle in the pocket. You will be graded and judged based on the way that your calls translate to accuracy. In the regular season, there is a much more literal interpretation and literal enforcement of the rules because the newer referees that are joining some of the more veteran crew chiefs are being graded based on that literal interpretation. If there's ever anything close to a violation, blow that thing, blow that whistle. We're trying to protect our stars. Offense needs to be prioritized for a variety of reasons. That's a whole nother show. But in the playoffs, when you get 3 crew chiefs assembling, they have tenure, they have a little bit more leniency with the grading process, and they've also been instructed once again to not blow that whistle unless it's so obvious. So you know what the result is? A lot of that 50-50 shit where you can technically blow the whistle there, the whistle does not get blown. That results in a lot of free-flowing basketball. End-to-end basketball. And when you are 15 deep with superior athletes and you're winning the physicality matchup and the tail of the tape because you have a deeper front court than practically everyone in the Western Conference, maybe with the exception of Minnesota, you are going to physically dominate. You are going to force turnovers, and then you have guys that can score points off of them. So that's the first thing, is referees are letting the physicality go. And even if they're blowing the whistle early, it will not be that consistent from start to finish. There is also a thing called whistle fatigue. And this is where Sam Mitchell got, when we were doing our Sirius XM show, he told me the story about the 94-95 series between the Pacers and the Knicks. And they would send out Anthony Mason, Charles Smith, Charles Oakley, Patrick Ewing, John Starks, and these guys would just foul the shit out of them to start the game. They're like, blow the whistle now. Blow it now, because when we do shit that's a little softer later in the game, but it's still a foul, you better not be blowing the whistle for that. We're going to train you so that in your brain, you know what a foul looks like. And if it's lesser or softer contact, you won't do it when it matters the most. And the Pacers, they said, every time you see us complaining to the referees, we would accuse them. They are grooming you. They are grooming you, and they're killing us down here because they set a precedent with you early of how physical they're going to be, and they've taken their foot off the gas in just the slightest. So training the officials is something that Oklahoma City undoubtedly is doing right now. And combined with their skill, with their experience, their depth, and the versatility of 5 guys that can switch positions 1 through 5 on the floor at any point, this is the result. They are going to get away with more shit because they deserve it. And they've earned it. And they've created their own luck. They are taking advantage of a veteran officiating crew that is telling you we're going to let physicality go more now than we did in the regular season. And if OKC continues to be granted this freedom, this luxury to be able to grab the jersey and get up inside of it without a violation of some kind being delivered or deployed, they're going to repeat as champions. Their entire trajectory is determined by how much of a micromanagement the referees are going to do of the rule book that evening. Let me rephrase that because I don't know if it made sense. The degree to which referees micromanage the rule book will determine if the Oklahoma City Thunder will repeat. And all we've seen from the playoffs thus far is a very go ahead, do your thing, pick up style, call your own fouls. And it's only going to get worse as we get to the conference finals and the finals when you have Tony Brothers, Tyler Ford, Scott Foster, Ed Malloy, Billy Kennedy, all these veterans assembling as like the Avengers for one crew. They let more shit go as a unit than anyone else, especially when they're off individually during the regular season with younger officials at their hips. Okay. That's my explanation. I hope that made somewhat sense. Okay, I need to catch up on some chats here. Sorry, I need to catch. I'm all the way back to when I was making fun of Aiton and people were laughing at my Aiton walrus hands. Are you guys old enough to have seen the movie Little Giants? The guy, the wide receiver, hot hands. He can't catch, so he tries to put sticky on his hands, and then when he goes like this out of the huddle, sticks to his jersey, and then he starts running down the field like this, trying to get it off, and the ball hits him in the head. That's DeAndre Ayton catching post passes. You got to throw him a roll of toilet paper for him to catch it. Certainly don't throw him an ice cube because then he'll just stay at home. Okay, sorry. My silence people is me just catching up on both chats here. Be Like Berg in the YouTube chat says there are 3 teams left in the playoffs that are leading the league in points off of turnovers: OKC, Cleveland, and Detroit. Well, Cleveland's going to have to beat OKC in that category, considering how many turnovers they're committing per game. I think tonight was their best of the postseason, and it was still double digits. Carly's in the chat. Boomer status means I haven't been able to stay awake to be in one of these the past few times. How does it feel, Carly, to be a boomer? Once you get north of 35, those eyelids get heavy early, don't they? Your knees start to hurt when they get out of bed. Your desire to participate in late night activities decreases. This life isn't for everyone. I commend you. More chats, more chats. All I see, unethical basketball from Bleacher Dave. Bleacher Dave, you thought you could just sneak that comment in there. Unethical basketball. When you got the pride of Golden State, I'm not even going to get into this. Unethical basketball in Golden State is ethical basketball. Let me guess. Go ahead, put in the chat as to why. Chad Brewster says, does the second apron really even matter? Just means OKC might have to give up their own first a year or two. They have others. They're going to decide if they want to go into it, if they need to retain Lou Dort or Isaiah Hartenstein. But there's just the presence of the second apron is enough so that teams that are going through little dynasty championship runs are going to have to make some tough decisions. But you're right that the penalties usually don't start until the first year after, when that multiplier tax starts to levy. What's up, Drew? Hey, man, 38 years young and still a night owl barfly. You and me both, Drew. A true millennial. That means you're an 87, baby. What a great time to be born. Groundless Goal says, I heart size is nice to have, and that they can trot out those double center lineups because Chet can practically be a corner three guy when Isaiah's on the floor. What a luxury. Isaiah's the best rebounder probably on the floor unless Mitchell Robinson's out there. I've lost faith in Jalen Duren. They cleaned the glass. When was the last time someone got a second chance opportunity against OKC? Let's look it up right now. How many second chance points do you think the Lakers got tonight? I'm going to guess less than 10. Shall we do an over-under here? Game charts. Second chance points. 17-6. Fast break points. 14-4. Look at this little purple part of the pie graph here. I don't even know if this is a pie graph. It's close to a pie graph. 6 points. 6 second chance points. Okay, no one, with the exception of the Knicks, no one, at least in the Western Conference, is better at closing out defensive possessions than Oklahoma City. And this was their biggest liability against the Dallas Mavericks the year that they were eliminated. By the Mavericks exposing them with Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford, OKC immediately addressed the problem with Isaiah, and now they're potentially going to win back-to-back seasons. But they're rebounding no longer. After all of that great defense that you play, it doesn't matter if you don't get the damn rebound. You can play the best defense in the world. Don't mean shit unless you get the rebound. And OKC concedes 6 total second chance points to the Lakers tonight. More chats. Zoom and Raf 11. Sorry, these usernames, man. Sorry. Says, don't see any problem with the defense, Wob. NBA has legislated defense out in the regular season that when the playoffs occur, players are not used to it, and neither are fans. Preach on that. Good comment, Zoom. Because these, especially the inexperienced ones that maybe haven't been to the postseason before, throwing up their palms to the sky like, he hacked me. You know what? He probably did. But in the playoffs, you don't get the whistle. Every time James Harden goes dribbling down the paint, blah, does this little, blah, and then he looks back and he makes that stink face at the referee like, man, he fouled me. And the ref's like, I don't really give a shit. It wasn't hard enough to blow the whistle. And while you're complaining, you're giving up 5-on-4 the other way. That has been the case ever since Jonathan Simmons put him into a cookie jar a decade ago. Zach says Wob is a diehard Knicks fan, but just tells the truth, unbiased analysis. I don't have a dog in the fight. If I'm rooting for anyone, I'm rooting for the Lakers because I invest in season tickets to resell. So every single home game that they play is more money in my pocket. So I should probably be rooting for the Lakers here. Penned tweet says, is it a net positive for the game? Would love to hear your answer on that. You were saying that when I was describing the Thunder defense. Is that a net positive for the game? Yes, this physical style of defense where it most certainly matters as much as offense now. It is much closer to a 50-50 balance equity share in the playoffs than in the regular season where it feels like 80%, 20% offense, defense. Like defense is impossible to play in the regular season because of the micromanagement of the rule book. And by the way, you guys know I love nothing more than complaining about the younger generation, and this is a great way for me to do it. So thank you for the natural segue. When you play pickup basketball against a Zoomer, and how many times they call for ball because you touched me, you fouled me, like these kids get tomahawked the way that guy from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would get thrown out the window, or Steve Urkel thrown out of the house, how quickly a Zoomer gets kicked off the court because they just dribble for 2 seconds. And if you so much as touch their hip, foul, ball. So I'm never playing with this person again. You know what people do? They take the ball and they go to the other court and say, you guys can have this. We're going to go play elsewhere. And that is certainly, considering the NBA now is a majority kids in their 20s and coming up through AAU, the collegiate levels, the game is officiated and played differently. I think they anticipate that physicality resulting in whistles of some kind. In the playoffs, you have to switch to being a millennial or a Gen X hooper because you are not getting it. It's just stop looking for it. It's not going to come. Stars get calls. That's really about it. If you're a role player, you just have to assume you're going to go to the rim, get your head taken off, and nothing's going to happen. Jay Vasquez says, let's see if Wob keeps this same energy if the Knicks play OKC in the finals. You very clearly have not been following me very long or not been watching my Knicks post-game thoughts videos. From night one of the regular season, my prediction was this team will go to the NBA Finals, win the Eastern Conference, and lose to Oklahoma City 4-1 in the finals. I have not changed the beat. I have not changed the beat once. I picked Denver to come out once the brackets were set and did playoff predictions. But if it ends up being OKC coming out of the West, the Knicks will lose that series 4-1. Too much hero ball from Jalen Brunson, and those hyenas on the perimeter for Oklahoma City have eaten him and Karl Anthony Towns alive to the point that Cat can't even get up a single three-pointer. Is Wob? Yes, Wob is a Shohei Ohtani fan. That is correct. Hashtag thank you, Shohei. Those of you that don't know, I had a substantial amount of money on Shohei Ohtani to win MVP at 40-1 the year that he started pitching for the Angels. And needless to say, that's how I afford this this whiteboard and markers. Yes, if you're going to make fun of Shea for anything, it's that he plays basketball like a Zoomer. Yes, I concur. He's still unbelievable. And I would like to repeat myself for those of you just joining the chat now, that if you see any of those compilations out there where Shea or the Thunder are flopping, I guarantee it's going to be 6 or 7 real flops or less. And what you won't see in that compilation video is the 45 other times that the Thunder strip someone clean, fleece them, get out into the open floor, or Shea doing something ridiculous with his ability to create space. That won't end up in the video. People are just sitting at home waiting for their narrative to be fulfilled. And when they get enough evidence to put together something that's 45 seconds to a minute to 3 minutes to 4 minutes, good to go. This is going to bang because I know it has people that will participate in the echo chamber. It's not the emancipation of Puerto Rico. It's the annexation of Puerto Rico from Little Giants. Shout out to Chad Brewster. And partial credit for Turn It Up Montana. Now we've got Austin Reeves at the podium here. Austin Reeves has just said, quote, "We're grown men, and I don't feel like the referee needed to yell in my face like that." Oh, brother. If there's, I got a question a couple of minutes ago. Is this a net positive or a net negative for the NBA? These players continuously crying about the referees is embarrassing. Embarrassing. Even if my own team does it, embarrassing. It will solve nothing. Okay, have your head coach go up there and eat the fine, but everyone's getting hacked. Everyone is getting hacked. You're not the only ones. If you want them to officiate as the rules are written, not a single person would pay their money to watch that product where there's 3 dribbles before a free throw. And then it's 6 straight hours of free throw shooting before the final buzzer. Okay. Crying about yelling now. Again, this is the Lakers. It's the prom queen complaining about looking ugly. Oh, I feel so ugly tonight. You know, when some really hot girl does that bullshit, like, oh, I'm so ugly. I'm so ugly. And they want their friends, their little sycophant friends, to come around them and be like, oh, you're beautiful, baby. You're beautiful. When you're clearly beautiful. Come on. Come on. That Aiton Snow Day reference is a deep cut. I will never forget about that shit. And in a weird way, I don't blame him because black ice, you should never, ever, especially at night, ever consider trying to navigate. But DeAndre's going to have to wear that. Let's see. Savage J says, we aren't saying that they aren't talented. We think they should win off talent, not off of flopping so much you sway the game. Once again, the Thunder are not the only team that are embellishing. I could put together a compilation of the Lakers embellishing, of the Cavs embellishing, the Knicks embellishing. That's just as long as the Thunder. And it will do 10% of the retweets and the likes and the comments because there is no low-hanging fruit narrative surrounding those teams. It is a bailout for people to accuse Oklahoma City of playing unethical basketball. When if you actually watch every single possession of the game, something tells me that the possessions that include the embellishment and the flopping is going to be awfully close to all these other teams. This is just a product. If anything, it's more of just it's an indictment of social media and the demise of civilized, nuanced discourse. Yeah, seriously, that's crying about yelling. User Heron says, I think if anyone who hates OKC, how OKC flops, if they were forced to watch the 2018 Rockets, they would genuinely pass out. Of course. YouTube, what's happening? Right, because Austin Reeves never flops. You know how many times Austin Reeves got his pocket picked these past 2 games? What was he, 3 of 17 in game 1 or something? Let's see what he finished with tonight. I have a feeling it's going to be really bad. Oh, wait, he actually scored a lot of points. Let's see. Hit 31 points. Oh, he was good tonight. 10 of 16. How many turnovers? 5. He led the team with 5 turnovers. That's what I was concerned about. All right, so we shot efficiently from the floor, 5 turnovers, and OKC forces 6 Lakers players to have multiple turnovers. That's pretty crazy. Let's count them. LeBron, this category, this chart right here. It's going to be small, but bear with me. LeBron, 3 turnovers. Rui, 2 turnovers. DeAndre Ayton, 2 Stonehands, 2 turnovers. Austin Reeves, 5 turnovers. Marcus Smart, 3 turnovers. LaRavia, 1 turnover. Jackson Hayes, 2 turnovers. 6 players with multiple turnovers. I mean, again, this shit doesn't happen by accident, and they're not just putting dudes in full Nelsons and bear hugs until they drop the basketball. The Lakers can play with the same physicality defensively. They can exert the same physicality defensively that OKC is being permitted. Penn tweet says, to clarify an earlier question about net positive for the game is forcing refs to make the 50-50 calls. That's like committing 10 crimes and settling in court for 4 charges. I play super physical and appreciate the dog in anyone's game like that. But daring the refs every other play to make the call is gaming the system, in my opinion, and is not a net positive. Or I guess the other outcome is every team starting to play that way. Sadly, we know refs can't call everything by the book since pace and ratings matter. Yeah, there would be 0 people watching or paying for the product if they blew the whistle every time that there was a 50-50 physicality moment. The Thunder know that. Everyone knows that. I'm trying to tell you, I know that. I've heard from the referees union. They are not going to blow the whistle unless it's egregious. Get used to it. Which is why watching James Harden dribble, penetrate, and do all that shit has never worked, is not currently working, and will never work for the rest of his life. 4th game this postseason in 9 total playoff contests that James Harden finishes with more turnovers than made field goals. And this is just over. It's been over with him, but it's just a reminder of how over it truly is. His stationary, because he has to be on the ball. He is best as a lead guard, not a scoring guard. And if he's on the ball, he's initiating for others. But his decision-making of when to go to the dribble penetration floater, to go to the step back from the nail on the free throw line or the elbow or the free throw line extended, it's always the wrong item from the menu. He throws terrible lob passes, entry passes. He's supposed to be setting up others. And the result of which is Donovan Mitchell standing over there like a gargoyle and Evan Mobley trapped in the corner. And if it wasn't for Donovan Mitchell doing his Dwayne Wade, like step through, whatever that shit is called, where he takes the ball and brings it over his head as he Euro steps. He goes to that move like the gather, and then he pulls the, you know, the shit I'm talking about. It's the Dwayne Wade move. If he's not doing that in secondary transition in the fast break, he's just not like scoring points unless it's catch and shoot shit. He's not getting downhill anymore. The stationary ball handling of James Harden puts this offense in mud. And against a great Detroit Pistons defense that has the bodies to stay in front of their on-ball assignment and do it in an elite way, like Asar Thompson, even the Ron Hollins, Cade Cunningham, these guys can D up. Harden's not getting any calls whatsoever. He's going to turn the ball over, and they're going to lose. I don't know what else to tell you. This is the same guy that had 7 points in a game 7 about a calendar year ago. 7 points in 35 minutes on 8 shot attempts, by far the fewest on the team. There is no one with a sample size this large or a track record this extensive of an inability to translate their regular season proficiency, production, accolades and achievements into playoff basketball. How after all of these years, that man can still think I'm going to dribble, penetrate, and embellish and get a whistle. It's either ignorance, stupidity, or stubbornness. He is unwatchable. And he's like in Cleveland, he's going to have one big game as he always does. This is what James Harden does and why his fans continue to try and defend him. Like he did in Philadelphia, where he went for 50-something points in that game 1 against Boston. He'll have that one game where he goes for like 47 and 10. See, James Harden is what the analytics tell us he is. And like he's going to give you 1 or 2 games, but not 4 out of 7 ever. Ever. His ass got locked up by Jonathan Simmons and the San Antonio Spurs on that night that they were punting, practically load managing. And ever since that moment, he's been on notice as someone that cannot translate their skills to playoff basketball in the way that the game is officiated. Now he's lost his explosiveness. He's got miles on the odometer. And his decision-making has been poor through the first 2 games of this series. I am so sick of watching him play basketball. There is nothing attractive, at least with Shea. Even if you don't like the way that he falls over, if you don't like the way that Embiid falls over every time that he gets touches down on the block, the one thing you can say about them is that they are incredibly skilled most of the time otherwise. And right now, Harden has lost that MVP level skill. He does nothing defensively. He exists. He's someone that you can't really back down. Like he can stand his ground. That's really about it. He's a terrible communicator. He is left on mismatches. He goes into drop coverage sometimes when he's supposed to show. The domino effect on the rest of the defense. There's a video going around the internet right now where Dean Wade is like doing, at first I think it was Donovan Mitchell, someone else on that side of the floor. Like we are just missing assignments. We are losing recipes of connecting our defense, which requires so much basketball telepathy in an environment, especially on the road in Detroit. When you have just one guy out there that is not able to consistently do his job on the assembly line, the whole operation fails. Think of a Jenga tower, but it's just like 5 little blocks. I'm sorry, think of one block that's holding up 5, and your only option is to pull the bottom one. Of course, the whole tower is going to fucking collapse. Terrible analogy. Anyway. James Harden will always be, like, you can't take away his MVPs. He is one of the best regular season offensive players of all time. And that's because the rules favor his style, and he is rewarded in the regular season. But for him to continuously think that I can just do what I did that got me here in the first place and not pivot his business model and his mindset when a lot of these other teams are doing so, we now have almost a decade's worth of evidence to tell us that any team that he is on is going to have to bend to his will because he's going to be on the ball so much. And even when you have a unicorn in Evan Mobley and you have a star like Donovan Mitchell, they will be at the mercy of James Harden's decision-making. Donovan Mitchell is not bringing the ball up the floor. And why would he? So that he can get eaten up and have to exhaust all that energy trying to dribble past Asar Thompson or Ron Holland or any of these Dennis Jenkins out there that are picking up 94 feet? No, Donovan Mitchell's never going to be on the ball. That's going to be James Harden. And it is to the point that I have almost fear that it looks like Donovan Mitchell has lost his explosiveness, lost his bounce, when that may or may not be the case, but I haven't seen it on display in quite some time. Because any time that he touches it in the half-court sets, it's just catch and shoot threes. The only time that he really shows off his stardom is when it's 3-on-3 basketball, 3-on-2, fast break, secondary transition, where there is space on the floor. James Harden does not have the gravity that he once did. If he's going to be out there producing stationary basketball, your hope is that the weak side help defenders have an extra step in the paint to help when James Harden inevitably breaks down whoever's guarding him. The Pistons don't fear that at all. We are not sending help. James Harden, you're going to have to beat whoever's guarding your ass, even Tobias Harris. We're cool with that. We'll live with the results. We're not helping. So if you think you can dribble, penetrate, drive, and kick like you are someone on the Boston Celtics, we are turning off the faucet on that bullshit. I would love to see what James Harden's usage percentage was tonight. And thankfully, I have it right here. James Harden, 36 minutes played, 52 seconds. Usage percentage was lower tonight, 23.2. Donovan Mitchell, sky high, 36.1. That's got to be the biggest difference between these two in the playoffs, and the result of which was them still falling short of scoring 100 points. Lucas says, every Cavs ISO bucket is so tough. That's the story of the playoffs every year. What is the quality of shot attempt that your team gets? What is the quality of shot attempt that your team gets? Is it some hero ball possession where Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson have to do something special off the dribble and shoot over two guys? Because guess what? They'll make a couple. They're that good, but they're not going to make all of them. Meanwhile, Oklahoma City gets wide open layups and free throws. How are you supposed to keep up with them when everyone's exhausted? They have 15 guys, so everyone's fresh. Their defense is unlimited turbo, relentless, and the pressure gets even more intense on those stars who are running on fumes. Do you guys understand why no one closes better than OKC? Historically. And the teams that lose these series, people, are the teams in which their quality of look always ends up in someone's hands as a grenade. And it's SOS, break glass in case of emergency. And they get up something ludicrous, unless your name is, name me one player. I know the answer to this. Name me one playoff campaign where a team has a ISO heavy offense relying on hero ball from their best player has resulted in a championship. And the answer is Dirk Nowitzki with the Dallas Mavericks. That's really the only time I can think of where an individual was able to triumph over a better team. So the teams usually that are getting those quality looks don't have any holes in the armor, any liabilities, that can play 48 minutes of basketball 4 out of 7 times successfully. Joaquin World in the YouTube chat. Did you say 2011 Mavs before I said it? I think there's a little delay from when I'm talking to when you see it. So I'm going to give you credit that we were both thinking the same thing at the same time. I got someone going through it in the Twitter chat right now. Most of these turnovers are actually non-calls. Oh, man, this person's going through it. Unfortunately, it's just not a correct assessment. What's up, Helwick? Cavs need to push the pace. That third quarter comeback was Schroeder out there running. Cavs aren't winning a slowed down half-court basketball game ever, because that means James Harden. They're not winning that shit ever, ever, ever. They need to be out in space. Donovan Mitchell was killing it tonight anytime that they got him into the open floor, open court. Penn Tweets asks, does anyone have a legit shot to beat Oklahoma City? Is it just the Spurs? That is correct. There's only one team that can beat them. In the Eastern Conference, the Knicks will get one game. The Pistons will get swept. San Antonio. I think the Western Conference Finals will determine, well, I mean, the Knicks have had some success against San Antonio. They beat them in the NBA Cup final, championship game, whatever you want to call it. So it's the only hope for my beloved New York Knicks. Otherwise, OKC is going to repeat. No, I don't think you can nominate any Warriors team if you're looking for just individual. Every Warriors team that's ever won has been a collaboration, even the Kevin Durant teams. Because Kevin Durant was able to operate practically one-on-one for 2.5 straight years while people were busy dealing with Steph Curry. Ryan says 2025, 2026 Houston Rockets. Just kidding. That was the holy hand grenade of playoff basketball looks. Yeah, boy, was it ever. Is OKC going to finish 16-2? Well, San Antonio's got a legit shot, man. I know regular season doesn't always equate to teams replicating that in the playoffs, even though OKC embarrassed the Lakers. OKC embarrassed everyone. So this is playing out the same way that we saw during the regular season. But if San Antonio was able to assert that influence that got them all those victories, they do have a legit chance because their perimeter surrounding Victor Wembanyama, it's honestly, OKC might be a better matchup for them than Minnesota. But Dosunmu coming back, Anthony Edwards coming back, Minnesota was forced to go out with their super jumbo lineup of 3 centers. They had no other choice. They only had 8 guys. That's Randall Gobert and Naz Reid. And now Dosunmu comes back too early. He's hurt again. They didn't go to the triple center lineup at all last night. But San Antonio has Victor Wembanyama anchoring the paint, surrounded by De'Aaron Fox, Julian Champagnie, Devin Vassell, and Steph Castle, or like Keldon Johnson. They have the perimeter guys to replicate a lot of what makes Oklahoma City's defense so potent. And they have guys skilled enough to make Oklahoma City pay for those slightest of moments that you have an unobstructed view of the rim as they attempt to close out, as they attempt to recover, which is usually quicker than any team in recent history. That's how San Antonio has won these games, with Victor Wembanyama being the nucleus of the offense. I'm interested to see that series, though, because J-Dub was being used as the primary fronter of Victor Wembanyama when he was standing at the free throw line. So if it's not J-Dub, then it's going to have to be Caruso, because that Caruso would come in and take those minutes. And if Caruso is out there fronting, is he going to get into foul trouble? Is it Kaysen Wallace? Like, what do they do? Because they don't put Chet Holmgren on him primarily unless he's down in the restricted area. I got a curveball question from Drew in the YouTube chat. If the Knicks win it, all, and you somehow, some way, get a chance to have a little party on a boat, which Knicks players and or fans are you inviting? No, I'll be, if the Knicks somehow, some way, if they have 3 wins in the NBA Finals, I will go to every game until the series is over. So that's either them closing out or them forfeiting. So I'll be in the arena so I can celebrate in the locker room with them. Yeah, we needed Denver, man. Denver could have certainly provided more resistance. If Denver ended up in the 4 seed, let's see how this would have shake things out. So if they were in the 4, that means the Lakers would have been 5. And then the Rockets would have been 6. So, yeah, I mean, it's tough to say now considering how unathletic Denver looked, especially without Aaron Gordon. I obviously would not have picked Denver to win the championship if I knew Aaron Gordon wasn't going to play. But that's part of the age we live in right now. Uncertainty with injuries and such. The Lakers would have been 3, the Rockets 5. You're right. So it would have been Lakers 3, Nuggets 4, Rockets 5, T-Wolves 6. And then we would have repeated that first round series from last year. Lakers would have gotten smushed. Denver would have advanced. They'd be playing OKC right now. And who knows how this all would have gone. Oklahoma, thank you for this stat of the night in the YouTube chat. OKC is now 20-0 in the playoffs when Chet Holmgren shoots at least 33% from the three-point line in the game. Noted. Zoom in the Twitter chat says Wob is planning a Cash Patel locker room takeover. Instead of saying you're going to the White House, boys, you're going to the whiteboard, boys. Come join me in my 1-bedroom apartment. Good one. Good one. You guys brought the chats tonight. I appreciate you. I was a little cranky last night. On that note, it is now 10:35 p.m. local time. That's 1:35 East Coast. Lord knows what time it is in Western Europe. But unless there's any more questions, maybe it's a good time to say goodnight. Manzo, I can always rely on you to be the standard bearer of jersey excellence. Brian says, can we please ban City Edition courts and uniforms during the playoffs? The Knicks went out wearing their, were those City Editions or were those Association Editions? The navy blue. It's just such a disgrace. It's just such a money grab. Joaquin says, I'm listening while procrastinating my final undergraduate assignment. Congratulations. Oh, it's May 7th, right? That means people are graduating soon. You start to lose. When you're in school, high school or college, May means class is over. It's summertime. It's either job or summer vacation, depending on your situation. You just forget about that shit when you're an adult if you don't have kids. I can't tell the last time I've thought about lining up something with school schedule. My friends we're so far removed from it. But I know that feeling. Last day of classes, last final exam, it's party time, baby. I only took one class second semester of my senior year. I think I've told this story before. Took one class before the University of North Carolina banned this practice because so many people were taking advantage of it. Took a senior underload because I had enough credits to graduate, and I took one class that didn't even have a final exam. It was Carolina Week student news program. So I just had to go out there and produce news stories. And other than that, I was playing Halo and partying my ass off just to get the most out of college before having to go into the real world. And with a senior underload came a prorated tuition, and I saved myself thousands and thousands of dollars that way. And the next semester, it was gone. That was banned for students who had to pay full tuition no matter what. Those are their the statement alternatives. So there's associations, there's statements. Ugh. Good night, Sam, who says Thunder up. Also, Thunder cities are kind of nice, though. Helwick says you remember it because the pickup courts become more competitive when everyone's off of college. True. I don't hoop anymore, but That is true. MCC says school's out for the summer, school's out forever, unless your school gets hacked. Oh, yeah. What's some shit going on with because you guys do all your classwork online now? Do you guys have bring like laptops to? We never did that shit. You bring your laptop to a classroom? I'm from the age of notepad, pen and paper, and chalkboards, overheads, PowerPoints. They had the underload at Texas, just took basketball plus 2 classes, pass fail the last semester. It was wonderful. Yeah. I doubt because by doing that, they're missing out on a lot of tuition money. Wobb's last semester had the school changing the rules like Kareem. Yeah, no more dunking, no more senior underloads. I wasn't the first one to do it though. But I certainly took advantage of it because the difference between out of state tuition costs and in state tuition at a public school like that is significant. And I looked at it the other day. So I paid in state tuition when I was at school from 2005 to 2009. In state was like 1,800 to 2,000. I think that was for either a full year or per semester. And then out of state was 8,000. Now in state is like 7,000. Out of state is 40,000. Like poor kids these days are no chance. Put yourself in debt like that for a worthless degree. It's unfortunate, but the world changes, I guess. Congratulations, Tay, rooting for you. 3 more semesters for you. I'll be graduating this time next year. All right, my friends. On that note, I'm going to sign off now. Appreciate y'all joining. If something big happens during the games tomorrow, I'll be back here before I depart for Mother's Day weekend. I'll be headed up to Vegas. Yeah, good games tonight. Oklahoma City en route to another conference finals. It's been a pleasure, everybody. I will see you on the timeline. Deuces.